you be willing to sit here and wait until I said something? Well, at least 5 minutes, right? How often do we have trouble sitting and waiting for the presence of God? Because being in stillness and waiting for God's presence isn't natural. And perhaps it wasn't natural for David either. Because in Psalm 62, he seems to be giving himself a reminder. You're welcome to open up to Psalm 62, verses 5 through 8, to see which verses I will be referencing this afternoon. David is writing this psalm, and we know David to be a fearsome warrior, a man who was dedicated to the Lord, and before he did anything, would ask the Lord for guidance before he went into battle. And yet in this verse, he's reminding himself, my soul waits silently for God alone. The word that he uses to sum up the phrase wait silently is a Hebrew word. However, the word that he uses in verse 1 and in verse 5, even though in the English is the same, is different in the Hebrew. In verse 1, the word that he uses in the Hebrew is an adjective. It describes him as a patient person. However, in the verse that we're looking at, it is a verb, and is used in the Bible in Exodus and Leviticus to describe a person's reaction when they are in the presence of God. The word means to be still, silent, or to grow dumb in the presence of God. If you were to analyze your devotion time and the time that you spend in the presence of God, would those words describe it? If you're like me, the answer is not really. Because we usually fall into two categories when it comes to spending time with God. Either A, we're strangers to quiet. We don't like silence. So we fill our time with God with music or movement so we don't have to be in the silence. Or perhaps we're comfortable with silence and can sit there for as long as we need, but we are strangers to stillness. We're quiet, but our mind is running 100 miles an hour. Yet we see success of those who have spent time with God in stillness. Moses in Exodus 33 calling God a friend. Jesus spending time on the mountain. David's reminder is for us to wait quietly for the presence of God. But so often we fall into the trap of having our devotional lives fit the same pace of our regular lives. We want it to be like a TV dinner, quick, easy. We pop in and start the timer, and we use it when we're low on time or resources. We can fall into the trap of taking shortcuts, like the one that my dad did when I was 11 years old. My dad, like I mentioned before, has only one good idea a day, and this was not one of them. He decided to take 2 frozen grillers, and rather than think to himself, why would I put it into the microwave for 10 seconds when I can just take a knife and stab through them? And so he stabbed through the grillers and also consequently through his palm as his insides bled out and tears were shed. 6 stitches later, he realized his shortcut was not forthcoming. Sometimes we don't realize that we're taking shortcuts with God in our personal time because we become used to sitting down with God for about 10 minutes, taking the first thing that he says to us or the first thing that we find in his word. We say thanks and we head out the door. But what if God is delaying his response to you because he wants to cherish and he cherishes that time that you have set aside for him? And he knows that if he speaks too soon, you'll take the first thing he says and you run with it. And you'll be okay with your TV dinner devotional, satisfied with the surface level interaction. So let me ask you, what is calling you away from stillness? What is calling you away from waiting on the Lord in his presence? Are you afraid he won't show up? Well, the good thing is that the God I know and the God I've experienced will get as close to you as I am close to you now. All we have to do is say yes. So I challenge you today. Say yes to God and make a commitment to spend 30 minutes or more waiting on the Lord. David found everything that he needed in the presence of God. Strength, power, fulfillment. No more TV dinner devotionals. Let us wait in God's presence.
Amen.